let's listen into some of that rhetoric, because we've heard both sides in the last few months target each other, and I'll get all my guests to reflect upon that. Does an assassination attempt in a way ensure a lowering of temperatures, or does it increase the emotional pitch? Listen into how Biden and Trump have been taking each other on during the campaign prior to this assassination attempt.
Most importantly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, Trump is a threat to this nation.
What they're doing to our country is not even believable. That's why Florida is going to defeat the radical left Democrat hoaxers and liars, and the election day, we are going to tell crooked Joe Biden, Joe, you've done a horrible job. You're fired. Get out, Joe. You're fired.
So one side calls the other a threat. The other side says you're crooks, you're liars. This kind of Raymond Vickery polarized rhetoric has continued for very long, and you saw the response, audiences cheering them on. The fact is, this has been happening. Now it's all very well to dial down. Did it require an assassination attempt for suddenly both sides to realize that it's time to dial down?
Well, I think that that should be the reaction, and we'll have to see. But your Republican representative today on this program has shown by his remarks just a few minutes ago what we're up against in terms of, well, it's all the Democrats' fault. They did this, they did that. And as you've pointed out, though, the attack of January the 6th was not just a peaceful protest. It was a call by Donald Trump to get to the Capitol and be wild and trying to undermine democracy through the big lie. So hopefully we can get past these things, but the next week is going to be very crucial in what happens after that. We are by no means out of the woods on this one. But if we'll follow what Joe Biden has said from the Oval Office, and if Donald Trump will do what he has said in terms of rewriting and calming this down, we may be able to move forward.
But I still, let me persist by asking you this, and then I'll come to you, Mr. Rosmondo. The fact is, Mr. Vickery, these are comments which I just played out, which have been said. When Joe Biden says that Donald Trump is a threat, what is effectively being sent to, in a way, possibly Americans out there who will then be worried if Donald Trump comes back. You could see a repeat of what happened in January of 2020, the so-called insurrection on Capitol Hill. All of this plays into fears. All of this plays into fears. Is that not something that the Democrats will, in a way, be haunted by now?
Well, it's what the whole country is haunted by. It's not what so much was said on January 6th. It's actually what happened. We have to be able to try to get past this. But I would point out this. The United States has been through some really bad times in the past. I was to go with Bobby Kennedy to the Chicago Convention before he was assassinated and be on his staff. So I know this personally, and we've seen this. But America has been in the past able to pull it together. And we need support at this time. We need support from other democracies like India. We need support from the people who are able to see a greater vision other than, am I going to get elected tomorrow? And I think that can happen. Whether it will or whether it'll go another way, we have to see.
Mr. Rosmondo, Donald Trump for a long time has symbolized, particularly to the Democrats, all that's going wrong in America. And January 2020 was an example of that. He is now accused, you've heard Mr. Vickery suggest, and others suggest, or the Democratic representative suggest, he started it. Now this name calling, this constant name calling, it's not like Donald Trump, while Joe Biden says that Donald Trump is a threat to America or the American Constitution, you've had Republicans use all kinds of invectives against Democrats as well. Who's going to dial down? Is the Republican strategy now, let's get as much of sympathy as possible because of what happened yesterday?
Well, let's put it this way. The Democrats fabricated a conspiracy theory that Donald Trump was a Russian agent. Hillary Clinton's campaign hired Fusion GPS to fabricate in collusion with a Russian spy to say that he was a spy. Then also you have these really weak charges that have been leveled against President Trump. January 6th is the only thing they have to hang their hat on, while ignoring the fact that their rhetoric and their actions have supported political violence. Democrats don't care about political violence. They care about using political violence as a trope. Also, the Democratic representative from California claimed that Trump said he would be a dictator. Trump is a way of just being sarcastic, and the Democrats always take what he says sarcastically as being somehow literal. Trump does not support the outlawing of abortion by executive fiat. He believes that the FBI should be reformed, and that partisan Democrats shouldn't be the ones pushing partisan investigations.
You're hearing, Meera Shankar, these alternate viewpoints being expressed by American voices. You could argue this could happen in India as well. Hyper-partisanship, hyper-polarization is creating, many believe, a more violent society out there, potentially more violent. Do you go along with that really is at the core of what's happening in the United States and possibly across democracies in the world? And in the age of social media, it gets even further aggravated. Just look at social media over the last 24 hours, the kind of comments that are being made targeting Democrats at the moment, virtually blaming them for for this assassination attempt.
Yes, I definitely believe that politics and governance in the age of social media has become far more fraught, far more polarized, because what we have is an echo chamber which reinforces opinions in a sharper way on both sides, and neither side sees what the other side is thinking, because there are two parallel tracks which never meet. So while social media was supposed to democratize politics by providing access to information to a much wider public and allowing that public to express its views, it's actually ended up through the algorithms reinforcing sharp divides in all countries. And I think we're still coming to grips with it. How to deal with this, I think, is an issue which is going to be very much with us in all democracies in the near future.
Ajay Singh Bhuturia, have the Democrats, in a way, now reconciled to the fact it won't be easy now for you to attack Donald Trump in the next few months, even on policies, because he will now play the sympathy card. The moment he's attacked, he and his supporters will say, look, there go the Democrats targeting us. As a result of their targeting, it results in assassination attempts. So would you concede the last 24 hours have pushed the Democrats now on the back foot, irrespective of what Joe Biden has said?
I will say what happened is, again, unfortunate. It should have never happened. An attack on Trump should have never happened. The lapse of security. But I will also say, President Biden fought the 2020 election with the slogan, restore the soul of the nation. There was so much healing needed at the time of 2020. And in the last 3.5 years, President Biden has been able to heal the nation to a great extent.
But what happens next? What happens next?
Exactly.
Have the last 24 hours changed this US presidential race almost irrevocably?
Well, definitely. I mean, it has given an opportunity for both the leaders to come together and say the country needs to be united, country needs to be healed, and this needs to be lowered down. The temperature needs to be lowered down. But then still the Democrats will continue on the issues. Democrats wants to take off the very same weapon, AR-15, which was used to attack President Trump or the schools or the colleges or places of worship. We want to take off those weapons from the street. the Republicans
So
do
you're
not.
saying
We
this
want
will
to-
trigger off a debate, for example, on gun control. Those are the issues you believe which this incident will trigger off. The Republicans, of course, believe that this now has a larger political message and therefore advantage Trump. Quick last word from you, Mr. Vickery. Will this lead to, is Donald Trump now the clear front runner?
Donald Trump, of course, is the front runner, but is it irrevocable? No, it is not. There's a long way to go, and I believe there is goodness and saner. The very charge that's been made that Democrats don't care about violence and want to use it is just not acceptable. And hopefully there will be people, Republicans and Democrats, who will reject that and lead us forward in a more positive way.
Okay, let me leave it there. I've heard 4 voices from different parts of the world, including 3 from the United States. And clearly the message is to try and bring America together again. But can that healing touch be applied given the kind of polarization that we've seen in the United States over the last few months? That's going to be the big question blowing in the wind. I appreciate all my guests joining me here on the news today.